so that's probably why. Light tone on fake skin is more like a medium tone. So I have my light one drop for my medium tone, and the rest of my cups is pretty much water. And I'm dipping from that one drop to them light cups to get a lighter tone. That's one thing it took me a while to learn. But yeah, them lights build up and it look like a whole medium tone. That's one thing I would say. That's how you get better with shading. Practice, you know. Nothing better than the experience. You start slowing your hand speed down, slowly trying to get some smooth shading. Pretty much, you gotta kind of force yourself slow down. See how these little small strokes I'm making? You gotta force yourself in this box to where you taking your time in one little area and slowly building up. You don't just start out with no medium or your dark tone. Even though this hood is pretty dark right here, but I'm still starting with a light tone. Opening the skin up, getting it prepared for that next layer. But that's if it was real skin. But that's how I do on real skin. You pretty much open the skin up, get it prepared for that next layer, so that next layer easily flow in the skin real smooth. With this fake skin, but I still approach it the same way. You want to kind of practice the same habits. Start with that light tone, and you building up your layers. So I tell people this a lot. Like gray wash is mixed with, is like diluted with water. But if you like mixing it with white, you're looking more for like opaque grays. That's more of a color you're getting versus a tone. I would say it's not a shade. It's a more of an opaque color when you add white. It's like I think they call them white washes nowadays. And if you mix it all the way, it ain't a white wash. It's just an opaque. So I think it's definitely a difference between whitewash and opaque, but they both contain white. Whitewash is more of a shading. Yep, just gotta keep taking your time, brushing it on now. Layer at a time, layer at a time. It might take all day, but that's what make it worth it. The end result. End result, keep pressing it up. Cross hatch if you need to, whatever. Try to stay consistent. That's the best thing you could probably pretty much do when somebody moving a lot because they're in pain is try to basically keep your patience, kind of work roll with the punches, but you also gotta just make sure you lifting your hand up and not tattooing like too heavy because when they moving they tend to press up on the needle and you don't want them to be like pressing up on the needle because when of course when they press up on the needle that's even more pain. We just gotta try to keep light-handed over the skin, stay floating, and try not to pull too big of a line. When I see somebody jumping like that, I try not to like pull no big lines or do nothing, hold my hand down on the skin with the needle for too long. I get like little pieces done at a time because I know chances they about to move or jump. So that's kind of how I pretty much do that. Just kind of be aware that anytime they could possibly jump since they've been jumping all this time. Jorge, yeah, still improving, Jorge. That's why I'm on this fake skin right now, practicing, practicing, practicing. So yeah, I got a long ways to go, so I'm still practicing, you know. I always tell anybody, don't get complacent, don't get comfortable. The minute you feel like you where you want to be at, you get comfortable, and you stop learning, you stop growing. So definitely not where I want to be. So I'm always trying to improve it, make each tat better than the next. I'll definitely say Mass Pro been some good needle cartridges for me, so that's what I've been sticking with. Mass Pro been holding it down, but I'm thinking about going up to the Quadrant. They more expensive, but definitely I think it'll be worth it. But so far, Mass Pro been holding it down. I ain't have no issues, no problems, no nothing about that. So I really don't have to change. They've been doing a good job. So one thing, the ink I use is dynamic. I always use dynamic ink unless I'm like using a gray wash system, which is like the Empire gray wash. Like it's already pre-made gray wash, but most of the time I'm using dynamic ink. Like this dynamic ink, mix my own tones, my lights, because you definitely need that on the fake skin, because your lights is really dark. That is a light tone, but it looks super dark. So I learned that, and I definitely adjusted. But to get more clients, One of the things I say to get more clients is talk to people. You gotta talk to people, feet on the ground running. Anybody you come across, have your business card. Talk to them, let them know what you do. Cause one thing for sure, if you don't talk to nobody and they don't know what you do, you won't have no clients for sure. So definitely gotta talk to people. So wherever you at, they got a group of people. Even if they don't got tattoos on, you can always talk to them and let them know you do tattoos. They always know somebody that get tattoos. Even if they don't get them, most of the time they get them, but they gonna have some people that don't get tattoos. But they can easily refer it on to their cousin, family member, whatever it is like that. So that's the number one way. Is I say feet on the ground running, moving around like in the streets talking to people. But other than that, I'll say online. You definitely could go online as well, marketing, making sure you posting. But if you don't really have that following, it's definitely to still try to get in front of people if you don't got a following. But most likely in the beginning, you probably don't got no money to do no promotions online. So the free and easiest way is definitely on the street talking to people because that don't cost you nothing but your time. Posting online just costs you time as well. But if you ain't getting in front of nobody, you kind of just posting in thin air. And these days, they really like halted your viewing. It don't get to all your followers these days. It's crazy. But feet on the ground running, go to colleges, campuses, things like that. Boom. When I was in college, Delgado, I was definitely passing out a box of cards a day, if not more than that. I mean, I was going all around. It got so bad to where like I'm coming back downstairs. People like, oh, I got one. Oh, I got it. Because I had to make sure I hit everybody before I went on to the next class. So anytime I had a little break in between class, definitely passing out cards. Spread the word, spread the word. I don't think passing out cards will really ever let you down because people always have your card. Now, mind you, if they don't got your card, they'll just follow you on Instagram, something like that, any social media platform that's on your card. That's why you want to put all the information on your card so they could just take a picture and still have all your information from there. And I'll also add that since I said word of mouth, that's another way, top way to get clients. Always referrals, never let you down as well. You do a good tattoo on one person, they're gonna always recommend a friend. Even if they're not really recommending the friend direct, the friend gonna ask them where they got the tattoo from. So if you did you a good job, what you were supposed to do, friend gonna ask them where they got their tat, and guess what? Now friend won't come to you to get a tat because you did a good job. And that's why you always try to do your best on each and every tattoo. Try to get better. Try to get better. The better your work, the more dedicated people see you is, the passionate about it, they're definitely more willing to recommend you because they see that you're really passionate, you're really into it, and you're not just doing it for the money. People that's rushing on you, they're not really interested in probably like referring you unless you just really got some good work. But you can't be rushing in and still have some good work. Quality. That's one thing I don't recommend. All your lines first. No, if you're doing realistic, there's no such thing as doing all them lines first. There's no lines in realistic for one. Second, you want to preserve your stencil. If you try to go map out in bloodline, I know people that do that. They bloodline the whole thing, and then they try to come back. Your skin is already sore. So I'm working in a small area, slowly working our way across it. Because if you bounce in here, you bounce in there, bounce here, bounce there. This gonna be so by the time we get back to it, and you don't want your client to go through unnecessary pain. So try to get all those areas out the way before you come back. Now, mind you, if I do have to come back once I get up here, it's not very much we got to do. We pretty much done. I'm just touching up small things. So that's less pain for your client to go through. Better chances of them sitting through the whole tattoo and not tapping out. We pretty much gonna do the whole thing with 15 curve mag and a 7 curve mag. Yeah, none of it really no lines unless I really have to detail something out. I go to my liner to get that detail, that textures. The mag I'm using is 7 curve mag, and the bigger mag I'm using is 15 curve mag. I definitely recommend Mass Pro needles, pretty good. Hextad needles, pretty good. Quadrant needles, pretty good. Cheyenne, but I've been sticking with Mass Pro needles lately, and they've been working for me. So if I decide to change, it's just gonna be going up from there. One thing, you can't get a good brand and plan on going downgrading pretty much, cause you'll tell the difference big time. So you don't want to do that. Always upgrade, upgrade. All right, y'all, we going in our solid black. I'm gonna go ahead and structure out where the highlights gonna be at. Structure out where the highlights gonna be at, cause we definitely ain't gonna be shading in there. Leave them skin breaks right there where them highlights gonna be at, and we'll slowly come in with our soft tone, blending that in. About to map out all this black. We're gonna come back, fill it in. But remember, we ain't trying to go too far, so I'm gonna stick down right in between the middle of the mouth and come back and on fill this in black. I say the main advice I tell everybody is practice. Your lines, start out with your lines. That's the foundation of almost any tattoo. Unless you're doing realism, then you ain't really got to roll no lines. But all small tattoos, names, words, flowers, butterflies, all that is surrounded by line work. So start out with your line work. That way you can do any one of those small tattoos starting out. And then you take your time when you figure out which route you really want to go at. If you want to niche down in a specific category, then you start practicing like shades and all that. Not exactly when you decide, but after you get your foundation, then you can start practicing on your shade work. And then from there, when you decide what niche you're going in, like what category, then you can start specifically studying like that style once you figure out what you exactly want to do. Also, I say make sure you draw. If you don't draw, then make sure you're tracing things to get your lines clean. Make sure you got straight, clean lines. That's all part of it. That's all gonna help you out. But if you do want to draw or you do draw on paper kind of every day. Practice your letters. Practice anything that got the line work in it. Trace it. Make sure you get your lines clean as possible. Then once you do that, you can move on your fake skin, and then you move up from there to real skin. So basically, the way to break it down is like if you want your needles to bounce off the skin like that to get like softer shades, it's better to use a shorter stroke machine. A shorter stroke machine, it hit the skin more lighter versus like a longer stroke machine. It tend to dig and travel longer distance into the skin. So while you're trying to get lighter shades with those longer stroke machines, it's knocking it in there so fast to where it's making the shade look a little bit choppy versus the short stroke. It kind of feather it on top of the skin and it don't travel as far into the skin, so you're able to build up those tones much easier. Let me know if that helps out. All right, and when I'm coming on the side, I'll try to hit a little bit of it with the mag. But if I feel we got to get a bit tighter, I'll come back with like a 7 round liner and add like a little shade in between that. But I'm just gonna get the 7 round liner. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna use the 7 round liner. I'm just gonna kind of brush against this inside of the nose a little bit, just to kind of create some of that depth. But normally I come back with the 7 round, like right on the tip of this nose. I'm gonna come back with that 7 to kind of shape that out on the skeleton mask nose. And I want it to definitely feel like a mask. That's why I'm trying to go for like a shiny feel. That's why I gotta get it super smooth. By it being shiny and it got reflections, it's like kind of challenging me to try to get them super smooth. Cause no mask and shiny like this ain't about to have no rough textures. And it kind of worked the same way when like tattooing. If you see it's a pillow that's made of cotton, of course it's not going to be super smooth. Realistically, it's not going to be smooth because if that pillow is cotton and it got like all these fabrics on it, it got different textures to that pillow. Versus like it's a glass cup. That glass cup is going to be like smooth. So realistically, you got to try to get that bad boy smooth. So you go with the textures of that object. Back to the 15 round liner. Not 15 round liner, my bad. 15 round curve mag. With the black, we're gonna start in this corner, start blacking that out. Remember when we doing the black, I am doing a small little circle, trying to pack that black in there. And I'm only gonna do it closer to this edge of the eye. We're gonna start going with our light tone and brushing across to the other side because that light tone still be looking dark. So we're just gonna catch that edge of this eye to cast that shadow on the end. And the rest, we about to bring it over with our light tone. After using black, you make sure you go and put it in the rinse cup. Get all that black out there before dipping into a light tone. Because you don't want to dirt up your light tone, and then you can kind of start slowly coming over. And see, I'm doing bigger circles.
Don't rub the face, you dab it off.
Yep. Don't rub, dab. Watch me do my dab. And since I'm moving over to the light tone, I'm going to start kind of doing a little backstroke motion to kind of lightly blend it in. Instead of doing the circles make it super saturated. We want our light tone to be soft, but not like super saturated. Cause fake skin, you make this super saturated, that light tone gonna look dark. It slowly build up. So it ain't like it's soaking in skin. It's like it's building up on top of the fake skin, pretty much. No, it ain't from neither one of those. You get wobbly lines if you like going too long. When you trying to make a long line, it's only natural. Like when you're going, it's gonna kind of come a little bit off. Versus if you kind of in one spot and you're pulling with your wrist, you get in a straight line. Versus trying to pull with your arm and then you kind of easily, especially if a person move, it's gonna easily be all over the place. So you gotta just kind of remain stable, pull your line and then come back, pull your line, come back, pull your line. That'll make it a lot more easier. But also, I'll definitely say use some grip tape, cause like that machine is gonna kill your hand over time. So use some grip tape, paper towels, whatever, tape it up. It's gonna definitely help you out.